As moms, we often wonder, am I doing enough for my kids? I'm here to tell you, you are super mama. That's because we have an undeniable superpower, our intuition, and it never steers us wrong. I call it our mom sense. Hi, I'm Kanika Chadda Gupta, and I'm the host of That's Total Mom Sense. I'm a journalist, entrepreneur, wife, and mom of 3, twins plus 1. Now, if I had $1 every time I heard, gee, you have your hands full. On my podcast, I interview influential moms from various industries and cover topics that all first-time parents grapple with, from getting your baby to sleep to screen time allowance, your new normal in your marriage, and how to dedicate time to yourself. Learn and laugh along with That's Total Mom Sense. As the COVID-19 pandemic has devastated our society, our global economy, and our daily lives in such a pervasive way, with kids home from school and parents juggling the role of provider, career professional, and teacher, we now more than ever are relying on our support systems. Sure, with social distancing and self-isolation, meeting face-to-face has become virtual, but there's no denying that maintaining connections and building bonds is so integral to humanity. Today, I am joined by Blessing Adesiyan, founder and CEO of Mother Honestly. Motherhood is demanding AF. There is an enormous amount of pressure on women to over-deliver on all fronts: work, home, parenting, lifestyle, and fitness. This over-demanding schedule is leaving mamas exhausted. Women like you are seeking solutions from underneath the laundry pile, the mountain-high dishes, and the skipped workouts. Mother Honestly is a platform that inspires, encourages, and guides the modern, ambitious woman to thrive in and beyond motherhood. Through online content and offline activations, Mother Honestly empowers and elevates moms to lead bigger, better, and deeper lives. Blessing is a citoyenne du monde, aka a global citizen, mama of 3, and married to her secret weapon husband, residing in Houston, Texas. She has over 10 years of experience in manufacturing and operational excellence. She is the chief champion of the Mother Honestly Collective, who earned her BSc in chemical engineering from the University of Florida and MSc in energy management from New York Institute of Technology and MBA in marketing and finance at the UNC Kenan-Flagler Business School. Blessing is no stranger to big ideas and even bigger to-do lists, but her passion for solving challenges that millennial women face in the workforce and the cultivation of their ambitions is what led her to launch MH as a response to a gaping hole in culture. Blessing, welcome to That's Total Mom Sense.
Hello, thanks for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
Same here. Tell us a little bit about your childhood and what it was like growing up in Nigeria.
Growing up in Nigeria was a beautiful experience. And I actually wish that my kids have that same experience as well, because there was a community feel, there was love, there was a village. I cannot remember my mom ever having to deal with what moms deal with today in America. We had uncles and nephews and aunts and nieces in the house that were extremely helpful to us. And, my mom had 6 kids, she had a career, she had a business, and, she never had any guilt. When all of that was over, she would make dinner. When she's making dinner, it's not just her, there's always somebody helping. And so I look at moms today and I see, women trying to do it all. What I tell women is that there's no way you can have a thriving career and an exceptional marriage and a happy home if you're doing everything by yourself. We're breaking our backs. We're all doing too much. We are operating at peak capacity. And as a result, we're seeing more women with postpartum anxiety, with depression, with mental illnesses. I just wish that, the community and the village that I had in Nigeria was available to women today.
Absolutely. It's so well said. I think we put a lot of pressure on ourselves.
Yeah, I think it's the expectations that we're placing on women in our society.
Mm-hmm.
The perfect the perfect body, the Instagrammable husband, and all these different things. And women are, unfortunately buying into this ideal I should have a straight A kid. I should have, a perfect clean home all the time. My husband should be, 100% doing 50% of the chores at home. The reality is that, we just need to, as a society, understand that my journey is going to be different from your journey, and that what I am doing is perfectly and 100% fine. Women should be okay with their journey. They should be okay with who they are personally and professionally. And comparing themselves is exactly why we're in this mess today as a society. Women are comparing themselves with other women, and they don't have the full picture, right?
Right.
You see a home that is, spanking clean, and you think, oh my goodness, she's cleaning a house 100% every day. And then, having this, high powered career, that's just not how it works.
Mm-hmm.
Think that, this is why I love podcasts like this, because we have the unique role of explaining to women that they don't need to be breaking their backs to appear like they have it together. It's okay for you to drop the ball when it's okay to drop the ball.
Yeah.
When it's okay to say no, even after you've said yes, it's okay to say no.
Exactly. I mean, I completely agree. My daughter is in the other room, just crying right now. But my husband is with her, and I feel like that level of letting go and not having to put the onus on ourselves for every little thing is like liberating. What inspired you to launch Mother Honestly?
Mother Honestly started as a passion project. I had my son. I have three kids. My daughter Tayo is 11, and my son Decon is 2. So 2 years ago, I had my son, and during that process, I was home. I was lucky enough to have 4 months of paid maternity leave. I was breastfeeding exclusively, just taking the time to get to know my son and really bond with my son. And towards the end of my maternity leave, my husband also got 2 months of parental leave. So we decided he was going to take his as well towards the end of mine.
Okay.
And those last 2 months of my parental leave was much more enjoyable because it was home. Just thinking about my career and what's next for me now as a parent. And I started looking for information around, career, motherhood, life, and all these different things. And I couldn't find a platform that catered to the modern ambitious mom. I found a lot of information around breastfeeding, homeschooling, cloth diapering.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what about me as a mom? How do I approach my life now? How do I climb the corporate ladder? And how do I, live a fulfilled and exciting life? That information was just missing. So I decided that, I was going to start it. And I called up a few friends, and I started, collecting the voice of the customer. I'm an engineer, by the way. So, I immediately put on my problem solving hat, and I started asking questions. So how do you feel? You're home on maternity leave, or you're working, is there any platform or any community that, where you go for advice or just to talk to people about what you're going through? And they're like, no. So we had a quick meeting, my friends and I, just about 15 of us. And I decided that I was going to create a fireside chat. So I remember going on Eventbrite and putting in how to return to work with confidence and resilience, because I wanted to return to work, but I couldn't find anything about how do you return to work, not in a way that, oh my goodness, going back to work now, I wonder what's going to happen to me. And is there any support? Not in that way, but having the audacity to actually, go back to work in a badass way and say, you know what, I just had a baby, and my baby's fine. And, I want to come back to work to do amazing things and to face to tackle the biggest challenge that we have as a company or as an organization. And so I put together the event, and I went to bed. And by the time I woke up, we had about 52 signups.
Wow.
And that was how Mother Honestly started. Because right after that event, I knew that women were seeking solutions, and they were seeking answers in motherhood beyond the baby. It was beyond the baby. It was beyond, just talking about our kids, which our kids are important. But I think that really helping women live their best lives is even more important, because when mother is whole, when the mother has everything she needs to thrive, then our kids thrive, then our family thrives. And so that's the whole premise of Mother Honestly, is how can we bring women together in a new way to reimagine motherhood, work and life. So that's really what we're about. And I'm super excited with everything that we've been able to accomplish in the last 18 months. We've had conferences, we've had 40 plus sold out events. We've been able to do lots of amazing things. We now reach over 300,000 moms across the United States and around the world. And it's just a blessing to be part of this and leading this in this fashion.
That is incredible. Wow. And what would you say the mission has become for Mother Honestly as it's evolved through the years?
I think that we've definitely evolved. When we started, it was about mom and work and career. But what we realized was that, women were facing challenges. It wasn't that, women were asking those questions about breastfeeding and homeschooling and cloth diapering for nothing. And we realized that it wasn't about being an ambitious woman. It was also about, paid parental leave. It was about childcare. It was about, mental health. It was about that anxious feeling you have when you feel like something is just not okay, right? You feel like, okay, maybe I'm working too much, or the kids are just not happy. And so it just became increasingly clear that it wasn't really only about our careers. It was also about everything else. So we started taking a 360-degree view of what motherhood could look like in a modern era. And so our mission now as a collective is reimagining how women thrive in motherhood, work, and life. And what I mean by that is, how can we not only propel women forward, but also solve some of the challenges that women face? We've been fighting and advocating for paid parental leave. We've been talking about the cost of childcare in this country and how women can go back to work with confidence and resilience. And what does that look like even for corporate America? So that's really what we're about now. And I'm just super thrilled to see where this goes.
Yes, absolutely. And you have built such an incredible community of women. Can you highlight some of them who are part of Mother Honestly?
Oh, absolutely. I think one of the unique things about Mother Honestly is that it's honestly a labor of love, not just by me, but multiple people. We have multiple partners that work with us to make our summit successful. One of them is Jill Kozoil. She is the co-founder and CEO of Motherly. She was the keynote speaker for our summit last year, and she talked about the business of motherhood. She talked about the United States of motherhood and the challenges that women continue to face in America, and what we can do as a collective and what we can do as a society to break down those barriers. And another woman I can think of is Jen at Motherhood Understood. Jen is an amazing friend to me. And, she talks a lot about postpartum depression and anxiety and helping women manage that. And what I really love about our platform is just the stories of women that are really going through hard times and pulling themselves out of it. And just how she's been able to tell that story in a way that humanizes the experience. Having those kind of women come together at our summit and bring their energy and their thought leadership, their expertise to really help women in various ways. That has been, I think, one of the key ingredients to our success.
This episode has been sponsored by Chérie. Chérie, Beauty Without Barriers, is an app that delivers everything you need to know about products and the best kept trade secrets in beauty, skincare, and wellness. With brands from A, Absolute New York, to Z, Zara, and everything in between. Chérie features honest reviews, tutorials, and personal stories. I especially love the personalized content based on my skin type and tone. Thanks for making this mama's life easier. Visit chérie.com, spelled CHERIE.com, and download the app on the App Store. C'est tout. À bientôt. Tell us about the retreat and the summit and, keynotes, events, what we can expect.
Our retreat is coming up June 12 to 14, and we're just hoping COVID-19 is over by then. The summit is still going to be strong. October 1st and 2nd, Brooklyn Expo Center. We're expecting over 1,000 attendees, a lot of sponsors, lots of partners, lots of speakers. We're expecting about 100 plus speakers. We have multiple workshops, keynotes as well to share with hundreds and thousands of moms. So we're super excited about that. We're definitely still in the thick of programming. We just announced some of our speakers. And we hope to announce the rest of them soon. So we have a lot of things planned for the year still. So again, just hoping that, all of this pandemic issue is fully gone by then, or, under control.
Mm-hmm.
So come out and have some fun, learn about how to approach their careers and their personal life and their business, going into 2021, because that's definitely going to be needed, seeing where the economy is going and where things are going right now in general. So just super crossing our fingers on that.
One thing that's really remarkable that you've done with Mother Honestly is during COVID, you have this contingency plan already rolled out and we're very proactive with it. You quickly rolled out virtual happy hours around noon. You have a Slack community. So making this shift to all things online was really great because you want to keep the sense of community together. Can you just speak a little bit about, how you came up with those ideas and what you're implementing?
No, I mean, absolutely. I really believe that women thrive on community. I think that that's who we are, is we're always looking for somebody else that is going through the same thing because, maybe we're not even really looking for a solution, right? Maybe all we're just looking for is somebody to acknowledge that, yes, I'm going through the same thing, or, oh my goodness, is there anything I can do to help? And maybe that's just all we need to hear. And so for me, I've always been about, how can we give women the tools they need to connect with each other and to help each other solve problems that, I personally probably don't have the answer to. And so that's what we've seen with COVID-19 is that a lot of women are basically looking for a safe place to really share their emotions and really share what they're personally feeling when it comes to COVID and their kids. And, when we started the virtual call, I remember people just coming in and literally some of them in tears, right? Or, I don't know what I'm doing, or, my husband doesn't understand. Everything is on me. I'm the one doing the household cleaning. I'm the one grabbing all the supplies. I'm the one putting together the meal plan. I'm the one putting together the homeschooling plan. And then nobody is helping. And, it was just a safe place for them to voice all of that. And then, as they say that, another person is saying, oh, you're not alone, girlfriend. I'm right there with you. We all came up with, some good advice for them, or some, why don't you try this? Or why don't you try that? Not in a judgmental way, not in a, oh, go do this. You're not smart enough. Why don't you just tell him to, no. How can you see this differently? Or how can you better understand what's going on or understand your spouse? And that's what Mother Honestly has been doing, honestly. There's really no formula to anything. We've just been about community. We've been about serving all of our moms and making sure that we're there for them, when it's great and when it's not so great, like now.
Blessing, if you could tell us some of the key takeaways that you think working moms should focus on right now, just to make life easier while we are, kind of managing all the balls in the air and everybody at home.
Absolutely. I think the first thing is get help. Don't drown in chores. It is not your job to do everything. So you need to get on the same page with your loved ones, whether that's your husband, whether that's your kids. I am an advocate for making sure that the kids are doing some kind of chores, because mommy is not going to do everything for everybody. So that is my first tip. My second tip is to network. I know that it's hard right now to network in your, whether it's 1,000 square feet or 2,000 square feet home, but there are ways to do it, whether it's calling, texting, Zoom calls, whatever you can do to make sure that you're still visible front and center within your company, within your organization. If you own your own business, this is not the time to say, oh, we're not having sales, so I'm just going to kick back and relax. No, this is a time for you to offer resources and support to those people that already purchased from you. This is a time to say, hey, I know that, you're not trying to bring your kids to my daycare right now because we're obviously closed, but here are some activities that, I'm proposing for you to do at home with your kids. Sending them links, sending them resources, and offering your support. It's going to be very crucial at this time. I think just stay positive. There's no need to drain ourselves in all the negative energy that is happening right now. Choosing joy is what I've heard people say now is, choose joy. So choosing joy and just knowing that, this time with your kids is just amazing. I mean, how often have we had to be locked indoors with our kids? Just
true.
Take it as a positive, make sure that your kids feel loved and they feel happy to be home with you. And also take the time to disconnect. There really isn't much happening outside, in the outside world right now.
Yeah, it's true.
So this is a good time to, completely disconnect, get a good sleep. I'm trying to get my 8 hours of sleep now, wake up and do your makeup and get ready like you're going to work. So you actually feel like a human being.
Yes.
And just have fun. Check in with your friends. I think that's the best thing we can all do right now.
Tell us about a mom sense moment you had.
When my son was, I think it was 3 months. I left the house. I left him in a crib, and my husband called me a couple of minutes later and said, I think our son is having a seizure. And I said, a seizure? What? Lo and behold, he was really having a seizure. And we went to the doctor. We went to the ER immediately, and they started doing all the tests. And everybody was literally jumping up and down because this was a 3-month-old. So they were asking questions. Did he just have a vaccine? What happened? And we're like, no, he was fine. There was nothing. And I just remember having, just panicking the entire time. And they brought in like 6 different neurologists. And, they all came back, after running various tests and said, this is possibly epilepsy or infantile syndrome. And they had all these different things. And I was just like, nope, that's definitely not what's happening. My husband was looking at me like, well, you're not the expert. And I'm like, no, that's just not what's happening. So I said, why don't you let me tell you about his day? And they all started looking at me like I was crazy. And I said, yeah, I'm going to tell you about his day, what he's had, when he had his, every meal, and when he took his nap and what he was doing. So I started going through his day. And while I was telling them about his day, I said, and he's been having multiple refluxes, the entire day. And the neurologist looked at me, neurologist looked at me and he was like, stop there. And I was like, what do you mean? And it was like, did you say refluxes, multiples? And I was like, yeah. And the guy was, oh, that might be it. It might be that, he had a really bad reflux while he was crying or something. What happened? And my husband was like, yeah, when I left Panera Bread, he was crying, in his crib. And my husband took a little bit longer to get to him. And so had a reflux in between the bad cries, and that kind of maybe threw a nerve in his body, and that was exactly what happened. So
wow.
So they said, okay, just to be safe, we're gonna run all the is it EKG or EGs, whatever. They decided to run a few tests. So they had all sort of wires all over his brain. And we stayed during the night, and they gave him Zyrtec, just to say when I said reflux, right? So they gave him Zyrtec, and let's watch and see if the seizures, come down.
Happen again, yeah, exactly.
Being the engineer that I am, I brought out my spreadsheet and I started timing every episode seizure that he had, and I noticed that the timing started growing. So it went from every 15 minutes to every 30 minutes to every hour to every 2 hours. And then he slept off. And that was it. That was literally the last seizure my son had ever. So that was a total mom sense there. Because I just knew that it wasn't any of those things, epilepsy or infantile syndrome. I'm like, no, that's not it. That's definitely not it.
Yeah.
Since then, I know that, he is one that shouldn't be crying for too long, because he obviously can throw himself into a danger zone.
Let's not forget our quote of the day.
Is there a quote that you live by?
Oh, I think my quote is just do it. done is better than perfect in my dictionary, because a lot of time, we're all just waiting for the right moment, and we're waiting for the right thing, everything to fall into place before we actually execute our ideas. And I truly believe that, there will never be the perfect time. It's just like, having kids. You never like just sit down and be like, oh, it's time to have kids. Well, at least for most people, there isn't like a perfect time to have kids.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that's so inspiring to hear that.
It's now time for Mom Haul, when we share products we love.
Mom Haul. So this is a fun segment where we just share products that we're loving right now. So is there anything that you want to share with my listeners, like that you're using? It can be parenting related, beauty, wellness, anything.
There's also this brand that I found. It's called Creamy Blend. It's out of Detroit. And they have this sugar scrub that, they give it to me as a swag gift for Mother Honestly. And I just never used it for about a year. And I finally found it in when we moved, I finally found the body scrub. And I started using it, and my goodness, is this one of the best products that I've ever that. There's also Moroccan oil, and it's probably maybe because they sponsor a lot more, honestly, but I've been able to use their product even more now. And I just absolutely love their body oil. Not only because it's an oil, it actually smells great. I'm like, who makes oil that smells great? Well, Moroccan oil. So I've been using that now, and I really, really just love it. And for me, there's always wine, red wine. Yes.
I love it. That's so great. So I have a few as well. The first are just apps that I've come across that I'm using for the kids. So, my 3-year-old twins, ABC Mouse and Khan Academy Kids. Both of them have been just lifesavers during COVID because they have actual lesson plans and curriculum, whether it's reading or logic or math. It just makes life easier that okay, we're going to do this amount of screen time, but if you're, on one of those apps, I know that they're educational and they're learning. And then the other one is Wander Beauty. I'm using my baggage claim eye masks frequently because of the lack of sleep. Those are the golden eye masks that I'm sure many have seen go viral on Instagram. But they really work because the skin under the eye is so soft and sensitive. And these eye masks make them feel so rejuvenated. And I feel like the elasticity and the collagen that's built up in that portion of the skin, just you feel so revived afterwards, and it leaves the skin feeling really supple. So I'm using those all the time and growing my eyebrows out, and we're just not seeing anyone, so it's fine. Okay, so how can we get involved with Mother Honestly and become members?
I think the best thing is to just follow us on Instagram at Mother Honestly. So we don't really have a membership. We have a community, and we have that up on our website where you can join our Slack community. We also have it on our Mother Honestly Instagram page. So feel free to follow us there. We're also very, very active on LinkedIn. So follow us there as well. We share a lot of content around motherhood, around work, around life. Everything on the career and home front we cover. So definitely follow us there as well. And we also have a podcast. We have a Mother Honestly podcast that we have episodes every week as well. And we've been able to reach hundreds and thousands of moms across the United States and beyond. So you can reach us anytime. MotherHonestly.com, and we're on Instagram at Mother Honestly. We are on LinkedIn, Mother Honestly, and we are on Twitter, Mother_Honestly. And I think that's it.
Thank you so much for taking the time out today. It's late at night for us, and we're recording together, and it's so special to be doing this with you during these uncertain times when we feel so alone. So thank you for making us feel part of your community. Blessing.
We're so grateful for your community as well. Thank you so much for having me.
Hey there, mamas. I hope this episode lifted you up and gave you a sense of hope during these uncertain times. Blessing truly lives up to the meaning of her name because she is a beacon of hope to so many women through Mother Honestly. Blessing, thank you for being on my show today. Like I shared in the Mom Haul segment, I do love my Wander Beauty baggage claim eye mask right now. And I want to remind you to use my code, and that is MOMSENSE, all caps, MOMSENSE, and you will receive 20% off at checkout. I also want to give you a code for Mother the Summit, which is hosted by Mother Honestly, and it's going to be on October 1st and 2nd at the Brooklyn Expo Center. And past speakers include Jill Koziol, who is the co-founder and CEO of Motherly, Dana Trout, she's the CEO and co-founder of Health Aid Kombucha, and Kate Anderson, who is a dear friend of mine. She's the co-founder of I Fund Women, and she's been on the show as well. So do check out the summit. I'm sure COVID-19 pandemic will be behind us by then. Here's hoping. Like I said, it's October 1st and 2nd, and Blessing has extended my listeners a code. It's Total Mom 10, TOTALMOM10 for 10% off at the summit. And you can learn more about it at motherhonestly.com/summit. And I really, really hope to see you there. I'm going to be a speaker and I'm honored to be on the lineup. So it's going to be an exciting time. And as always, follow me on Instagram, and my new handle is at Kanika Chadha Gupta, and write to me. I love reading your emails and your feedback and reviews. My email is that'stotalmomsense@gmail.com. Remember, always trust your mom sense, especially during tough times like these. Stay strong, super mamas. You've got this.
That's total mom sense.